Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, in Mindanao. Today is November 12, Friday. It's weekend, partner. And here are the headline news for today. Item analysis, answering the question how. How hard or easy a question is. How high and low do the performers do the question. How parts of the answers are doing, and item analysis is done by obtaining the difficulty index and the discrimination index. Yes, partner, you have any idea about item analysis?
And for us to have an idea, partner, what is all about item analysis is, here is Miss Giselle to tell something about item analysis. Miss Giselle, come in.
Thank you, Hazel. I am now here at Tanawan Institute Incorporated. I am report Naya about item analysis. So, what is item analysis? Item analysis is a process which examines students' responses to individual items in order to assess the quality of those items and of the test of a group. It is an important tool to uphold the effectiveness and fairness. In item analysis, all you have to do is to retain, reject, and revise the items. The desirable characteristics of an item must be, and undesirable characteristics can be either revised or rejected. For truth and reliable report, Jessel Zapata, reporting for Assessment News 106. Thank you. Back to you, Hazel and Elby.
Okay, thank you, Giselle. A little bit clarification. Yes, and doing an item analysis, all you must do is to reject, retain, and revise the item. And the desirable characteristic of an item must be retained. And the undesirable characteristic of an item must be revised or rejected. Yes, partner, you have something to clarify?
Miss Giselle, are you still there? I have some questions to clarify. Can we use item analysis in doing research?
Yes, we can use or make item analysis in research if our research the effectiveness of the test. Thank you. Back to you, Hazel and Elby.
Thank you, Miss Giselle.
And to answer how hard and easy a question is, how high and low do the performers know the questions, and how parts of the answers are doing. Hannah, please come in.
You had it right. Difficulty index. Difficulty index. This pertains to the proportion of the number of the students in the upper and lower groups who answer an item correctly. Basic looking at the table, the lower the difficulty index, the higher is the level of difficulty. Take note that the desired index of difficulty must be lower than 0.80. For the truth and reliable report, this is Hannah Jean Tabares reporting for Assessment News 106. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. LD.
Okay, thank you, Hannah, for the details.
For instance, we are tasked to solve for the index of difficulty of an item to find out whether the item needs to retain, revise, and reject the item. Jenny Uwamil on reporting.
Thank you, Miss Hazel. Yes, you heard it right. We need to find the level difficulty of an item. We have here formula how to find the level difficulty of an item. Formula: DI equals R divide N, wherein DI stands for the index difficulty items. R stands for the total number of students who got the correct response. N stands for the total number of takers. I have here an example and let's take a look at this. So for the index difficulty of this item, if among the 75 test makers, 45 only got the right response, using the formula VI equals R divide N, what will be the answers? And the answer will be 0.60 and it is considered as moderately difficult. For truth and reliable news, Jenny Wamil reporting. Back to you, Hazel.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Yes, it is very important to determine whether the student learned the concept being tested, and items that are too easy and too difficult must be discarded or rejected. And those items within the desired range of difficulty are identified.
Discrimination. Discrimination is everywhere, but what is discrimination index? Here is Amor Gonzalez reporting.
Thank you, Ms. Hazel. Now I'm reporting to you the discrimination index. Discrimination index, it is a difference of the proportion of the correct response between the student in the upper group and the proportion of the student in the lower group. Refers to the power of that item to discriminate the student between those that score high and low in the overall test. Here is the formula. Discrimination index is equals to PU minus PL divide N, where PU proportion of the number of the student in the UG who got the correct response. PI is equals to proportion of the number of the student in the LG who got the correct response. N is the total of the numbers of the takers. Here are the samples. Items number 15. Choices A. Upper who got the correct response is 1. Lower who got the correct response is 9. Choices B. Who got the correct response to the upper is 0. To the lower is 3. Choices C. Who got the upper response correct 26 while the lower is 15. Choices D. The upper group who got the correct response is 1 and the lower group also 1. And choices E. Who got the correct response to the upper and the lower are 0. Now, we will get the choices C, who are the upper grade, where correct response is 26, and the lower group, correct response is 15. Now, the formula is discrimination index is equals to PU minus PL divide the total numbers of the takers. Now, 26 minus 15 divide N, which is 28 plus 28 is the sum of the test takers is equals to 56. Now, equals 0.20. Looking at the table item is considered non-discriminating per items in the revision. For the truth and reliable, I am Ina Gonzalez reporting Assessment News 106. Back to you, Ms. Hazel and Mr. Ildi.
As a response to the challenge brought by COVID-19 pandemic that has also affected the sector of education, leading to envisioning the so-called new normal. In education, new normal requires to unlearn what we have always known. The rows of tasks, heavy bugs, tangible outputs, physical interactions, public exams, mass lectures, and even parent-teacher relationship. With this premise, distance learning is directly correlated as enabler of this new normal delivery mode of education, depending much on online learning and digital means to adapt as education practices transit to the new normal. Learning will shift from public space to personal space as students study at the comfort and safety of their homes at their own pace. This changed the social interaction from physical to virtual. The new normal also means shift in the teaching delivery mode from one-size-fits-all to individualized and differentiated learning, where students can progress through the curriculum of different speeds and use different resources based on their own particular learning needs. This facet looks into the challenge of producing and redesigning learning programs and materials that cater the individual needs of students and their access to internet connectivity and digital resources. Another facet to consider is the shift of responsibility in learning facilitation that requires the active participation of household members, providing guidance and assistance throughout the home-based learning scheme. The new normal needs also to be defined in terms of new and alternative means of evaluating learning to monitor student individual achievement. Learning online has long been proven to be beneficial to students and community facing certain circumstances like what COVID-19 pandemic caused. No matter what the situation is, learning has to be consistently achieved by every student, for living means learning.
And for us to know whether it is good items or poor items validity, Miss Gisaline Malaluan, please come in.
Thank you, Sir Ilden. For today's news report, I will discuss to you the positive, negative, and zero discrimination index. When we say positive discrimination index, the upper group is greater than to lower group. More of the upper group got the correct answer or responses. Good items to retain the items. And when we say negative discrimination index, upper group is less than to lower group. More of the lower group got the correct answer or responses. Poor item validity to reject the items. And when we say zero discrimination index, zero cannot be discriminate to reject items. And let's go for the discrimination index and items evaluation. 0.41 to 1.00, very discriminating or very good items. 0.31 to 0.40, discriminating or good items. 0.21 to 0.30, good items. 0.11 to 0.20, non-discriminating or fair items and did revise. Below to 0.10, poor or questionable item can be rejected or discarded. For the truth and reliable report, this is Jocelyn R. Malaluan reporting for the Assessment News 106. Back to you, Ma'am Hazel and Sir Ilden.
Okay, thank you, Miss Gisaline. We can see that item must discriminate, attest, and differentiate between high and low performing students. The truth behind the doubt. This is Eddy Marasigan saying on assessment, measure what you value instead of valuing only what you can measure.
Your voice towards with a reliable source. This is Hazel Carsocho. Without proper self-evaluations, failure is inevitable.